Ladies and gentlemen, it is Key Time Sports coming back to talk about the week 2 games from the NFL. Now, there were 6 upsets that happened throughout this weekend in the NFL, and I'm going to talk about every one of them. But the first game I want to talk about is the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Now, Tua Tagovailoa, he got injured. This is his third concussion in the last 2 years. So this is very critical. This is a critical time for him. Hopefully he gets better, gets back out there on the field because it is better for him to be out there on the field than to be injured. But you also have to take other things into consideration, like long lasting impact, lifelong impact for 20, 30, 40 years down the road. You don't want to get yourself injured while playing football and be injured for life. But back to the game. I saw this game out in its entirety, and Tua, he threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter, in the first half, rather. So when I seen that, I was like, this is basically going to be a tough game for Miami, and it was. And also the Buffalo Bills in the last 15 games playing against the Miami Dolphins, they've won 13 of them. And dating back to 2012, the last 25 games, the Buffalo Bills have won 23 of them, dating back to 2012. So, is Miami a competition when it comes to playing the Buffalo Bills? They should be. They should be. The last game that the Miami Dolphins won over the Buffalo Bills was week 2 of the 2022 season. And since then, they've played 6 games and lost all of them. So, can Miami make this a competition or a rivalry again? Yes, but Buffalo has the upper hand as of right now, and Buffalo had a stellar performance on defense. 3 interceptions. As far as the Miami Dolphins, they were 4 of 11 on third down in the game. So props to the Buffalo Bills defense, and congratulations to the Buffalo Bills on going down to South Beach and getting a divisional win. Now they are up 2 games on everybody. No, they are up a game and a half on everybody in the division after 2 weeks. The next game I want to talk about is the New Orleans Saints and Dallas Cowboys. I looked at this game too, and me being a Cowboys fan, I don't know what type of sets we were doing. I don't know what type of calls that Mike Zimmer was calling, but it was not working. I mean, the first 5 possessions that the Saints had, they all went for touchdowns. The Dallas Cowboys, they did not get a defensive stop until Derek Carr threw an interception, and they did not get a punt. The defense did not force the New Orleans Saints to punt until early in the fourth quarter. So, as far as me, as far as the Dallas Cowboys, I'm used to this. I'm used to us having an off game, but not like this. I mean, giving up 5, 6 touchdowns. No, no, yeah, 6 touchdowns in a game. I mean, it's bad. And I mean, now everybody is gonna push all their things on Dak Prescott throwing those 2 interceptions, but no, it's not on Dak Prescott. It's on the defense. It's on Micah. It's on Demarcus Lawrence. It's on all of those guys that, and plus the people on the players on the back end. They did not give out any. They did not give any pressure on Derek Carr. They didn't. And that's what makes it look so bad, because you got Alvin Kamara. He had 4 touchdowns by himself. And on top of that, I looked at Mike Zimmer during the game. He looked like he was shell shocked, didn't know what to do during the game. I mean, when the Saints got up 28-13, it seemed like he was just done. So what they did was, obviously yesterday they came into the facility yesterday, looked at the film, and after they looked at the film, they should have threw that tape in the trash can, because as far as when it comes to defense, that you're not supposed to be playing like that. That is just a bunch of ineptitude. And on top of that, the Saints, they only had 4 third down tries in the game. So, and because on first and second down, they were getting 8-9 yards on first and second down. So when you get that you got the defense at a standstill. You don't know whether the defense doesn't know whether to rush or stand back and let the quarterback throw, because everybody is so antsy and trying to get a stop. Then that's where the false starts come in, at the neutral zone infraction starts and all. So all in all, this was a good game for the New Orleans Saints. I'm hearing a lot of people say that the New Orleans Saints offense looks like the 2009 Saints offense, because they are on the same pace as this offense. In the first 2 games, they have scored 91 points, and the 2009 New Orleans Saints offense scored in the first 2 games 93 points without trailing. So I don't know. And plus, that season they won the Super Bowl. I don't know whether the Saints are going to host their own Super Bowl, but after the first 2 weeks, they're looking like a complete team. Now, we still have a long season to go, but after the first 2 weeks, the New Orleans Saints are looking like a complete team. So that's all I got to say. So congratulations to the New Orleans Saints. Dallas Cowboys, we got to do better. We got Baltimore coming in this week. Derrick Henry. So we have a tough task on our hands to stop Derrick Henry. The next game I want to talk about is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions. This game right here was one of the upsets of the week, because I was focusing on the Detroit Lions holding serve at home, Tampa coming back to Detroit, where their season ended last year, and having a bit of a tough time. But seemed like the Lions couldn't get out of their own way. They had penalties galore, and also they couldn't get any pressure on Baker Mayfield. And plus, Jared Goff had 2 interceptions. So the Detroit Lions, they couldn't get anything going. And also on the defensive side, Aiden Hutchinson, he had 2 or 3 sacks, but outside of him, everybody else was just non-existent. And when you look at that, and that's why I say, when it comes to the first 2 games of the season, I don't take too much from the first 3 or 4 games of the season. America, world, or wherever you may be listening to this, everybody who's a football fan, whether you are in college football or in the NFL, you don't know what type of team you have until the 4th or 5th game. That's how it has always been when it comes to playing in football. After the 4th or 5th game, you know what type of team you have. But this right here, early season loss, it's okay. It's just week 2. Never I mind you, Detroit is going to be in the thick of things when it comes to the NFC playoffs come December and January. They gonna be there, but this early season loss, this is just a minor bump in the road, and that is all. So Detroit, they still gonna get to the playoffs. Possibly Tampa Bay may still get to the playoffs. But this right here is just the early season loss. The Detroit Lions have nothing to worry about because they will hold serve at home and get to the playoffs. The next game I want to talk about is the Indianapolis Colts and the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers, they are resilient. Malik Willis, I got to give it to him. I didn't think that he would be able to play an entire game with the Green Bay Packers and not turn the ball over. But he didn't turn the ball over. And the Packers, what they did was they ran the ball 3 times more than they passed it, because I knew this is kind of what their game plan was going to be. And also, I'm going to give y'all an update on Jordan Love. They're saying 3 to 6 weeks he could be back. So if the Green Bay Packers keep playing like this, just keep Malik Willis in there, because I mean what the Green Bay Packers did on defense, what they did was kept the game close. Anthony Richardson, he had a decent game. He had 204 yards passing, but everything that the Green Bay Packers did throughout this game, they kept everything in front of them. Only time they gave up a touchdown was in the last 2 minutes of the game. So the Green Bay Packers, they have a good formula with Malik Willis behind center. If they keep on doing that, then they will be able to, when Jordan Love comes back 100% in all likelihood, Jordan Love will be able to pick up where he left off, and the Green Bay Packers will make it to the NFL playoffs. But that's only if everything goes according to plan with Malik Willis. Now, credit, this was week 2. He played against the Colts. Let's see how he gonna look week 6 or 7 versus that opponent that the Green Bay Packers are going to play. But all in all, good quality win for the Green Bay Packers. The next game I want to talk about is the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans. The New York Jets, they won this game. It was a lot of from the defense. Defense still needs to improve, but what I saw from the Tennessee Titans, Will Levis, I don't know what Will Levis was thinking about, but he didn't need to throw that pass. The pass on, now for people out there that don't know what I'm talking about, it was a play in the second quarter. It was 3rd and 8 where they was in the red zone where he was about to get sacked, and then he was in midair and then threw a backwards pass to his running back. And, well, excuse me, not running back. He threw the backwards pass to Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, he wasn't even paying attention. He just saw the ball rolling right there at his feet, and the Tennessee Titans turned the ball over. So that was an ill-advised pass that Will Levis threw, and passes like that cause you to lose the starting quarterback job. So I don't know if they are going to start Will Levis, but all in all, I believe they will start Will Levis. But if he keeps turning the ball over the way he is turning the ball over, the coach is going to have no other choice but to sit Will Levis down and start the backup quarterback. So as far as for the New York Jets, this was the type of win that they needed, because they have a tough amount of games coming up, because with the New York Jets, they have a tougher road than the Tennessee Titans. Now need I remind you, nobody's picking the Tennessee Titans to make it to the playoffs or even be competitive later on in the season. But we all know that when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, later on in the season, there's a possibility that they could play spoiler. So, all in all, the New York Jets and Tennessee Titans game, that was a good game, a close game throughout. The New York Jets reigned victorious. Congratulations to the New York Jets on getting your first win of the 2024 NFL season. The next game I want to talk about is the San Francisco 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this was another upset in week 2. San Francisco was a 6.5 point favorite, but Minnesota, they had different ideas. And Sam Darnold had a great game in this game. But also, Justin Jefferson, he also had a good game. He had a 97-yard touchdown that really changed the momentum and complexity of the game. And the 49ers, they could never regain focus and get back on track, because after that 97-yard touchdown, that's really when the doors blew off, because the Vikings were up 20-7, and this was going into the fourth quarter. That 97-yard touchdown happened late in the third quarter. Now, as far as Brock Purdy, he had a good game statistical wise, throwing for over 300 yards. But when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, they have a couple of people that will be out for a substantial period of time. Christian McCaffrey, he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. And last night, I just got news that Deebo Samuel, he will be out a possible 4 to 5 weeks. So most of their offense is on the sideline, because we know that both of those guys, Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, are a significant part to the offense of the 49ers. So San Francisco 49ers are between a rock and a hard place right now. As far as for Minnesota, what do we expect from Minnesota? Do we expect Minnesota to make the playoffs? It remains to be seen, will they make the playoffs? And it remains to be seen if they are going to be competitive, in their own division. Because you have Green Bay. Green Bay is staying afloat with Malik Willis, like I said earlier in the show. And also Detroit, even though they had an early season loss against Tampa, they still are going to be in the thick of things. And then you have Chicago. Chicago, they are pretty much up and down. And I'm going to get to them later on in the show, because the Bears, they really haven't had offensive cohesiveness between everybody, between Caleb Williams, Roma Doomsday, DeAndre Swift, and even DJ Moore. From what I'm hearing, I believe that this is just nothing but rumors. This is not true. But from what I'm hearing, speculations that DJ Moore is not happy. But this is only week 2. I mean, I keep on telling y'all this. Everybody out there, this is only week 2. Now, this would be different if this was week 10 or 11, when we done had quite a few games on tape already. But this is just week 2. People are still trying to get acquainted, still trying to work the kinks out, and there are still players coming back from preseason injuries and training camp injuries. So the sky is not falling. It's just week 2. So that's all I got to say for the 49ers and Vikings game. The next game I want to talk about is the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. This game right here, I'm not going to get into this game too much, but I'm just going to go over this game roughly. Geno Smith had over 300 yards in this game. DK Metcalf had over 100 yards receiving. The New England Patriots, this is going to be a team that is going to be in game, and they are going to keep games close this year. Every game that the New England Patriots are going to play, it is going to be a close game. Now, credit. There will be some games where the New England Patriots will get blown out. But you just don't know, especially with that New England defense. That New England defense can, with the defense that the Patriots have, they can keep any game close. That is where the New England Patriots are this year. Play good defense, run the ball, have the quarterback throw a few passes here and there, and try and see late in the fourth quarter if you have a chance to win. That is the New England Patriots playbook this season. So all in all, congratulations, Seattle, going into New England and getting a quality win. The next game I want to talk about is the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. This game right here, I couldn't believe the topic of this game right here. The topic of this game, the New York Giants scored 3 touchdowns, and the Washington Commanders made 7 field goals. Now, when you hear me say that, I'm pretty sure obviously everybody is thinking that, oh, this was a pretty good game. It was tied. But no, the New York Giants lost this game to a team that made 7 field goals, didn't even put it in the end zone, and that looks bad on the New York Giants' part. It really does. Now, last week, we had the same thing that happened between the Steelers and the Falcons. The Steelers put up the Steelers made 6 field goals and did not score a touchdown and won the game in Atlanta. This week, the New York Giants do the exact same thing, but what is really puzzling to me about the Giants is all week Graham Gano, he was nursing a leg injury or a groin injury, whatever injury it was, but it had something to do with his leg. So you should always have a backup kicker, because when a kicker is going through having injuries like that, it's really gonna take a toll on them. But on the onside, not the onside kick, but on the kickoff, Graham Gano, he re-injured, or he basically injured his leg to a point to where he wasn't even able to stay in the game. So obviously I was thinking that the Giants had a backup kicker, but obviously they kept going for 2 every time they got into the end zone. They were going for 2, and I was saying that is going to hurt them, and it did. So as far as Brian Daboll, you supposed to be prepared. You are supposed to have a backup kicker. Not even a backup kicker, but every position in the NFL, there is supposed to be a backup to the backup. There is. So just in case, if your offensive tackle goes down, you have a backup offensive tackle. Kicker, that is one of the main important positions that you need to have multiple backups at the kicker position, because you never know. It may hurt you in the long run, and that is what it happened to not the Detroit Lions, but the New York Giants. It hurt them in the long run. They missed 3 extra points, and that is what caused them to lose the game. Congratulations to the Washington Commanders on winning this game. 7 field goals. You gotta it worked for you. It worked for you in this game versus the Giants. But later on down the line, the Washington Commanders, they are gonna have to put the ball in the end zone in order to win games. But all in all, this was a good game. And congratulations to the Washington Commanders. The next game I want to talk about is the Los Angeles Chargers and Carolina Panthers. Now, this game was a blowout. I'm not going to get into this game too much. I'm going to just give y'all a rough draft of this game. Justin Herbert, he only had 130 passing yards. As far as the Chargers running game, it had 264 yards of rushing. And that is what Jim Harbaugh main focus was throughout the offseason, throughout training camp, and throughout the preseason. Getting the running game back to focus. Getting the running game where if the running game can get over 175 yards, that would be great. And for the first 2 games, it has been doing that. This is the least that Justin Herbert has had to throw in his career. 130 yards against the Panthers, and against the Raiders, he only had to throw 145 yards. So this is a good formula that Jim Harbaugh is doing. And is this a winning formula? Obviously it is. So all in all, in the long run, now I knew that the Los Angeles Chargers was going to win this game, but all in all, when it comes to later on in the season, I believe that the Los Angeles Chargers defense is going to carry them to some wins. You got Joey Bosa, and also when it comes, you got all those other cornerbacks. You have Asante Samuel Jr., who was also a good cornerback. Those guys are going to help the Chargers on the defense when it comes to winning those close games. Now, credit. This is Carolina, and we all know that Carolina, it's a dumpster fire over in Carolina right now. And plus, not to mention, they are going to bench Bryce Young for Andy Dalton. Now, there's one thing I want to talk about. Is this it for Bryce Young? I don't think so. But where the Carolina Panthers messed up at is not drafting wide receivers and tight ends in the past 2 drafts. When you got Bryce Young, you are supposed to help him out. And plus, not even that, you gave up one of the cornerstone pieces of the wide receiver core who is in Chicago right now. And yes, everybody knows who I'm talking about, DJ Moore. So I believe that they are expecting a different outcome with Andy Dalton, but you're gonna get the exact same outcome. And I think that Bryce Young, he is gonna be back up under center before this season is over with, because Andy Dalton is only gonna take you but so far. And if Andy Dalton is the answer at quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, what is the question? What is the question? I mean, Bryce Young, this is his second year. Last year, you didn't have a good offensive line for him. You didn't even have good wide receivers or tight ends. This year, the first 2 games, you don't have good offensive wide receivers. You don't have good tight ends. You don't even have good running backs for Bryce Young to throw the ball to. David Tepper and the general manager for the Carolina Panthers, y'all need to help out Bryce Young and get him some deep threats at wide receiver, some good tight ends in order to help him out and in order to see him succeed with the Carolina Panthers. Or is it going to be one of those trades where he goes somewhere else, revitalize and rejuvenate his career, and Carolina Panthers be thinking to themselves that if we only had to put the type of wide receivers and the type of tight ends that Bryce Young needed, he could have still been here. So hopefully Carolina does not let Bryce Young walk out that door, because there are a lot of teams that need a quarterback right now. There are a lot of teams that need a quarterback right now. Also, when it comes to the Carolina Panthers, they are projected to be at the bottom of the barrel again this year. But all in all, Los Angeles Chargers, that was a good game. Carolina Panthers, you got some stuff that you need to work on, and hopefully you do. The next game I want to talk about is the Cleveland Browns versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cleveland, this was a good bounce back win for you. Obviously, after last week, showing that dumpster fire that you showed, you want to come back out and rejuvenate yourself, and that is what the Cleveland Browns did. But as far as for the Jaguars are between a rock and a hard place right now. And the next two games are on the road in hostile environments. You got the Buffalo Bills, which is going to be a tough game going into Buffalo. You got the Houston Texans. That is going to be a tough game. And also, you have two games over in London. So before the Jaguars even come back to their hometown of Jacksonville, Florida, it'll be week 6 or week 7. So by the time that happens, their season might be hanging by a thread. And let's say the season is hanging by a thread already, because I remember last week I had them as one of my teams with plenty to prove this season. After not making it to the playoffs last season, I had them, and also I had the Cleveland Browns, another team that had as plenty to prove to make it to the playoffs this year. So both of these teams are in the exact same boat. Congratulations to the Cleveland Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know what you have to do. You know what you have to work on. The next game I want to talk about, and this was also an upset too, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens. As far as the Baltimore Ravens, we have got to look at the Baltimore Ravens and say, can they hold a lead late in the fourth quarter? Because since the start of the 2019 season, the Baltimore Ravens have lost 11 games while leading by 10 plus points in the fourth quarter with under 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We have to look at that, and we have to look at the defensive coordinator. We have to look at the entire coaching staff. We have to look at the entire coaching staff and ask them, defense, what kind of plays are you calling? Offense, why are you not running the ball when you have a 10-point lead late in the fourth quarter? That is what is going to hurt teams like the Baltimore Ravens that have all of these offensive guys and not able to put the game away when it is needed to put the game away. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles had that same problem last night, and I'm going to get to the Philadelphia Eagles later on in the show. But as far as the Baltimore Ravens, we've got to look at, do they know what they are doing when it comes to fourth quarter coaching? Their fourth quarter coaching, they have got to improve. They really do. Because there has been too many times over the last 3 or 4 years, like I said, 11 games where they have been leading in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, and they end up losing. Now, as far as the Las Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders are going to be a tough outing for anybody in the NFL this year. They are led by Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce is a old school run-of-the-mill coach. He believes in monking the game up, keeping the game close, and late in the fourth quarter, if the game is tied, then sending his team out there to go win the game. And that's exactly what the Las Vegas Raiders did. So congratulations to the Las Vegas Raiders on getting your first win of the 2024 NFL season in an upset and going into Baltimore and doing it. Not too many teams go into Baltimore and win in Baltimore. The next game I want to talk about is the Los Angeles Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals, I believe this is just one game. Arizona Cardinals came out and just straight dominated the Los Angeles Rams. And the Los Angeles Rams, Cooper Kupp, he's injured. Arizona, let's see if they can do this week in and week out. Now, last week they played the Bills. They had a chance at winning versus the Bills. Come back this week, and they really put Marvin Harrison. They made him the vocal point of their offense because he's already the vocal point of their offense. Kyler Murray, he threw the ball to him 4 times. Marvin Harrison, he had 4 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So it was a great win throughout for the Arizona Cardinals. Congratulations to them on getting their first win of the season. And for the Los Angeles Rams, they have injuries galore. Are they going to be able to make it to the playoffs? It remains to be seen. The next game I want to talk about is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just going to roughly go through this game because this game was basically a lackluster performance on the offensive side of the ball. Really, both teams, they really ain't light up the scoreboard. Pittsburgh, they won this game 13-6. They had 3 offensive drives, 1 for a touchdown, 2 others for field goals, and Denver, they had 2 field goals. That's all. But when it comes to Bo Nix had a good game. Bo Nix is the quarterback of the future for the Broncos, like I said last month. As far as the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a game coming up this weekend against the 2-0 Chargers. Now, this is it's going to be a good game. This is going to show you what team is basically for real and what team is basically just trying to keep themselves afloat, keep everybody above water. So the Denver Broncos, we already know that this is going to be a rebuilding year. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, do you keep Justin Fields at quarterback? I believe so because he's won 2 games now. He's won them, playing the style of football that they played back in the 1950s and 60s, but why fix what ain't broken? So as far as the Pittsburgh Steelers, keep doing what you're doing. Chargers and Steelers, they going to have a good game this weekend coming up. I am going to give my prediction to that game later on this week. So keep a lookout for Key Time Sports giving his NFL Week 3 predictions for this game. Now, the last 3 games that I'm going to talk about is the Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, Chicago Bears, Houston Texans, and last night's game, the Atlanta Falcons and Philadelphia Eagles. So to start off with the Cincinnati Bengals and Kansas City Chiefs, this game was a close game throughout. a lot of people are talking about that that flag that was on the last play of the game. Was it pass interference, or was it just, or was it a good play? That was pass interference, because if you see it, the defender, he is all over the back of Rashee Rice, and he didn't even give Rashee Rice a chance to come up with the ball. It hit off of the defender's helmet and into the sideline. So the that is why the ref threw the flag, because of pass interference, because you're not supposed to touch a receiver outside of 5 yards. Outside of 5 yards, you're not supposed to touch it. That's why if a defensive cornerback, if he jams the wide receiver one time or two quick times, that ball is going to have to come out of the quarterback's hand, because that pressure is already in the quarterback's face. He is either going to throw it, he's either going to throw it to the sideline or throw it for an interception. But all in all, this was a good game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Patrick Mahomes, he didn't light up the scoreboard, and Travis Kelce only had one catch. So the Kansas City Chiefs, they are resilient, and they are resilient, and they are fortunate enough to get a win like this, because they were not supposed to win this game. They really wasn't, because Kansas City had 3 turnovers, and also they had 4 costly penalties in the fourth quarter. They really did. But all in all, it was a good game. Congratulations to the Chiefs on winning this close game. And also, that could have been the 7th upset of this weekend. So congratulations to the Chiefs. The next game I want to talk about is the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. The Chicago Bears, they've only had 1 touchdown drive in 22 possessions since this season has started. Now, Caleb Williams, he has had a lot of growing pains throughout the first 2 weeks. Also, DJ Moore, he's had some growing pains with this new system. Roma Doomsday has had some growing pains throughout this system the first couple of weeks. And when it comes to the Chicago Bears, I picked them as my dark horse to make it to the playoffs. But like I said, this is only week 2. By the time week 6, week 7 get here, we'll have a lot of plays on tape when it comes to the Chicago Bears offense. Now, when it comes to the Houston Texans defense is legit. CJ Stroud is legit. Tank Dell is legit. Also, the running backs for the Houston Texans are legit. So, Houston, they are good. They are 2-0. They are up 2 games on everybody in their division, and they are sitting high after 2 games. So, one thing, congratulations to the Houston Texans on getting this win over the Chicago Bears, and you have sole possession of first place after 2 games. The last game I want to talk about was Monday Night Football last night. The Atlanta Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I saw this game. I saw where the Philadelphia Eagles still are having some problems on offense. And I knew this game was going to be close throughout. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, they had a chance at blowing this game wide open. They really did. But they failed to do that. Now, one play I want to talk about is that third down play late in the fourth quarter on 3rd and 3. Philadelphia has the ball on 3rd and 3. Atlanta has no timeouts. They are at the 10-yard line. Atlanta has no timeouts. And what the Philadelphia Eagles did was go back to pass. Now, in that situation, you want to go for a high percentage play. You want to go for a high percentage play. And the high percentage play is the Falcons don't have timeouts. It's a running clock. If you keep the ball in the end zone, if you keep the ball inbound, the clock will run. It's a 3rd down and 3. What they should have did was kept the ball, had Saquon running up the middle. Run it up the middle. And if you don't get it on 3rd down, you try it on 4th down. And if you get it on 4th down, then that's basically it. But either way, either whether it's 3rd down or 4th down, if you get the 1st down, the game is over. But what they did was Kellen Moore, and I've been saying this about Kellen Moore. The Philadelphia Eagles, they said throughout the offseason that they wanted to run the ball more. But when they got Kellen Moore, I said this, that they are not going to emphasize running the ball. And you see why. They didn't emphasize running the ball last night after, even though they had a chance to win the game. If you run the ball there, you basically win the game, because 3rd down and 3, the percentage of you making a 1st down on 3rd down and 3, I'm gonna look it up. It is 85% with a run play. It's 85% if you make the 1st down with a run play. A pass play, it goes down to 62%. Obviously, they went with the pass play. Saquon Barkley, he came out and said that the blame is on him for not making that catch. But I think that what they should have did was kept the ball on the ground, and they would have won this game outright. 3rd down and 3, run the ball. You down on the 10-yard line. It's the 4th quarter with 1 minute and 36 seconds left. If you run the ball, the game is over. You kick the field goal, and you only give the Atlanta Falcons, to my calculations, you only give them about 30 to about 35 seconds left, instead of giving them the entire minute and 25 seconds that you gave them. Instead of driving the length of the field, they would have been down to just 2 or 3 plays and then tried to go for the end zone. But all in all, the Philadelphia Eagles missed out last night on winning this game, and they ultimately blew it. And this might be a game that could hurt them later on in the season when it comes to playoff positioning and playoff seeding. So all in all, the Atlanta Falcons played a good game against all odds. They were the underdogs in this game. This was another upset to end week 2. And with that, those are my reactions to week 2 of the 2024 NFL season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. Also, follow Key City Sports on TikTok. And remember, one last thing, the key is always on time.